Hello, good evening, and welcome to Moving Forward. I'm your host, Abdul Ali.
And Dara Hamilton. Mr. Ali, I'm so happy to be here with you on another day of Moving Forward.
No problem. We're going to keep moving forward all the time on every step of the way.
Let's do that for the next
number of years. That's
right?
right, yes. Last time we were here, we were talking a bit about Buddhism, as you well know.
Yes.
And I've been doing some chanting at home, but I'll give you the rundown on that and a little bit later on as we move forward. As most of you know, the VI Lit Fest is ongoing at the moment. Started today, it's going to end on Sunday. And we thought, since it's all about books, authors, and so forth, and communication in general, we thought it would be a very good idea to get an author in here with us. And this I want you to look at very carefully, because it's a book which has been written by my good friend Sylvanus Donaie. And I met him many, many years ago in Texas. And at that particular time, he was involved in a unit really to get news out to the Caribbean. So this book, Race, Religion, and Capitalism in America, a Caribbean man's perspective on those. And I thought, how interesting that we should be able to get this perspective on that. So, Donna, it's nice to have you here with us, Sylvanus. And you got a good-looking picture there in the front. You're serious. And it looks as though you're walking down the valley there.
Actually, it's East End.
It's East End?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. And the beauty of it, yes. Yeah. And I made a couple of notes here. Yeah. One section is on Dreams and Cry, Legends of the Caribbean. There's some poetry and all that lot. Yes. And you aren't any better than me. That's another chapter. Okay. So we're going to have to speak about those. Yeah. But give us a little general update as to why you decided to write this book.
Sure, Mr. Ali. As you know, I am a lecturer. I teach mathematics and engineering at many universities. And I started to do pro bono work for a group of young folks from the neighborhood who had all they knew was about prison system, and I wanted to.
That's here or in the States?
That's in Houston.
In Texas, yeah.
In Texas, and I wanted to see what I could do to help them. So I started teaching pro bono, starting to train them to do electrical work and air conditioning and refrigeration. And in fact, last year I got, for my work, I trained over 2,000 young guys guys and girls from the neighborhood, who most of them came out of prison, and teach them how to do electrical work. And there were workers who were out there just waiting for them to get out to get. So I got an Innovator of the Year award for that. Yes. But the bigger thing is that you saw that they were. I saw a lot of our young kids you talk to them and you probably hardly find a young black man in Houston that did not go to the prison system. That did not go to the prison system. And the question was, why? If most of them grew up in the church, where did we fail them? So that was the foundation for this book. But I also was trying to show them how I grew up in the Caribbean, and if I probably was living among them in Houston, I probably would have been one of them going to through the prison system, in and out through the prison system. So that was the basis for the book. I break it down into 3 parts, which is consciousness, gangsterness, and Caribbeanness. Because I saw not only that they have to wake up to be conscious of what's going on around them. You had a lot of folks who ensured that they remain where they're at. and drive them through the prison system. And I also wanted to show them how I grew up in the Caribbean. And bring that to them. So,
because you're originally, is it Dominica?
I was born in St. Lucia.
Born in St. Lucia?
But I grew up here from so this is home.
That's the root,
yeah.
So that's really very good that you did that, and this business of consciousness, Caribbeanness, and gangsterness. I made some notes about that. One of the things that I think is really very important, and I made a little note here, you ain't no better than me, which you did on page 25. Do you sense that some of us as black people think that other people are better than we?
Oh, definitely. You grew up in and I talked about this in from a religious perspective. You grew up in the church, believing certain things.
Yeah.
And when you look at the results of being in a religious foundation, you know, as a black man, you had the worst health, the most to go to prison, the worst finances, the worst education, and the most to never even travel from your little hood to the next door. So you saw that, and I was always trying to answer the question, why? Why are you, you know, a 12-year-old don't want to go to school? Why you believe that that you could, you know, drive without a driver's license or drive without, you know, and the whole system that is created, even though you were brought up in the church, and these are the results. So I'm saying, where did we fail them? So that's my foundation.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know, Dara, you could come in here because you have talked on a number of occasions about the systemic attitude, the system that we're in, and how that has really made a difference on our lives. Yes.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to ask this question because you've been able to experience different cultures, you've lived in different places, and it sounds like this was your experience when you were living in Texas, particularly. Your eyes became open to this phenomenon. I wondered if you see a difference in perspective as to how things operate in the Caribbean versus what you noticed when you were in Texas, or whether these are similar processes operating. And it's hard for me to say here because, of course, we're a U.S. territory, so we absorb a lot of that culture. We absorb at least a lot of the systems. But maybe in other countries, you don't see those same systems. So my question ultimately is, are there differences in those systems that create differences in your perspectives on how the world works? I hope that's an intelligent question.
I have worked in a lot of countries, Russia, Kazakhstan,
Russia,
California,
you said Russia?
Yes, Colombia, Venezuela, New Zealand, Australia, China. And the same goes all over the place. Rich people want to keep you poor, and the poor wants to come up, but they have something which is pushing them down. And one of the easiest way to do this is to break down the educational system. And so there's really no difference in the outcome. Whether you're black, white, because I've seen, you know, you go up, even in the States, you see a lot of poor white people.
Yeah,
there are a lot of poor white people. You know, they just stick to themselves, you know, because it's always a pointing to the black neighborhood, the black this. But there's the same craziness going among the white people because they're poor, okay? And when you are poor, what do you do? To your question is, you get up in the morning, you go get some cheap beer to buy, you get drunk for the rest of the day, and you forget about the day, and you try to do it tomorrow. Yeah. So there's no difference. There's no difference practically anywhere you could feel. It's a matter of rich and poor. Rich and poor. The rich will always try to keep you at the bottom of the ladder. And one way to get out of this is through education.
Okay. And of course, I would challenge that, because a lot of us are quite educated, yet it doesn't seem like a lot of us are really making the shifts that allow for these changes so that there's more equity in society.
Well, I could understand that. However,
not rich enough yet. not rich enough to make changes.
However, with education, you are allowed to see a different picture, different perspective than those who are not educated.
Agreed. And then, yes, and you're offered opportunities
and then you are offered more opportunities. And even if they offered you the opportunity, you could make a quick thinking and say, man, that's not for me. No, thank you. You know, because people will, yeah, you have options. Yeah, when you're educated.
So, isn't this like a bit of a mind game? I mean, can't we just say, look, I'm not going to be studying all that. I am going to move forward in this path. No one is any better than I am. I am no better than anybody else. So I need to move forward. I mean, in your particular case, how many degrees you have? It's about 6 of them. Six different degrees.
Let's list them for us, please.
List them so we see what they are.
So we know what questions we can ask you.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Definitely about engineering.
I have a degree in business, a bachelor's in business, a bachelor's in engineering, electrical engineering. I have a master's in project management, a master's in network management, a master's in business administration, and a PhD in chemical engineering.
Wow, 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 wow. Yeah.
So you are very, very, very well
exceptional in terms of your contribution.
I don't know how you get that Mr. Ali.
No, but this is the reality.
Well, Mr. Ali, you know, I grew up here. I grew up here in St. Croix.
Yeah.
I think I had a very good education next door at Central High School. I mean, but my parents, you know, I grew up in the area where you were alien. Alien this and you were alien that, right? Yeah. But my parents were focused on me being educated. So my mother would buy me books and so on, and I was always into electronics.
Oh, I see.
But you know, I did a small stunt in the military, but I came back.
My goodness!
In addition to all,
I came back here and I started to work. Well, my last job was working for Hess, and what woke me up is by going to Hess. I saw that there was a lot of people that was no better than me, and the only thing they had was a piece of paper.
Yes.
And I was like, that money is of no value if you don't have that paper. Over here, you were throwing money at, but if you don't know how to use the money, how to grow that money, how to do stuff with that money, then you probably are worthless. You know.
I wondered what your major points and intentions were in writing this book.
Well, for one, race, the race, meaning a lot of young black men coming out from the church system get involved in the prison system, okay? And the same people who were in the jail, because the jail now are privatized. That's why you have a lot of the big businesses have the warehouse in the jailhouse.
All part of the system.
Yeah.
This sounds
those same guys was manning the system for penny a day, and when they come out, then they claim that they have a felon, and they can't even work in a warehouse because they have a felon. Whereas in the prison, they were doing the same job that, you know. So again, that's to show you, and we have a lot of history in America to show how that system is tripled all the time, and the only people at the end of that stick that gets it are primarily black and brown kids.
And it may not change. That's what you're basically saying.
Well, it changed, but it's through education, and that's why they're trying to break down the educational system.
So that's what I mean by saying that, it
Do you believe that's intentional?
It is intentional.
Intentional meaning we are putting efforts consciously in for this purpose, or intentional meaning with awareness? We have an awareness that this is how the system operates, but we're not going to change it.
Maybe a bit of both.
Because yes, you do have what you have to understand. The internet has break down a lot of barriers. People are more aware of a lot of things that's going on. However, they really don't want you to know this, so that's why they tune you into TikTok and Facebook, so you don't get educated. They spin it to how you want it to be, and you buy it.
Okay, so of course I'm going to say, who are they?
Well, it's the rich folks. The same thing happens here. The same things happen here,
But can't you be black and rich in mind?
Oh, definitely. I always say, if anybody has to be rich, I have to be the first one to be rich. With
all the things you've done.
I should be rich first, and then somebody else.
But you are rich. There is no question.
I don't know about that. I don't know how you get that, Mr.
You're rich in mind, in status, and focus, and that's why you've done. I'm going to look here at Dreams and Cry, because it's part of the book here. It says, I'm approaching easy over them calm Caribbean seas. On the right is Sandy Point, on the left is Freedom City. Rolson runway steering, a Williams Delight crossing, and then the wheels touch down, St. Croix, a Dongyang.
Yes.
So that's really so nice.
It was like you're dreaming. You're coming to St. Croix on an airplane. When you come into St. Croix, you could literally see the Frederickstead, Sandy Point. You're crossing over Williams Delight, and then you touch down. So that was my feeling, the feeling of go home. Then when you get out the airport, you're driving out like a Mack. You turn in, that big, and I always remember that big flamboyant tree, just as you approaching Melvin Evans from the West Airport Road and East Airport Road. They used to have a big flamboyant tree. I don't know if it's still there. But that was always there. That was like an iconic thing. And then, you drive down Machuchala, Hess Oil, so that was...
And you're home.
And I'm home.
And you're home.
I'm home.
Absolutely.
That's home. That was home.
Is this your only book?
No, this is my sixth book.
Your sixth book. Do you
didn't tell me about the other 5. We gotta get the names of those.
So now we have to know.
6 degrees, 6 books. Wow.
Do you write anything in patois?
I did.
I noticed the beginning.
For my mother.
The dedication. But with your other books or your poetry, do you tend to
my other books was in mathematics and.
Okay.
Okay. I wanted to do this, and I wanted to do it in a poetic form, because a lot of the young black men that I've given this book to, they were always into rapping, and they would probably more read from a poetic style than from just reading, just for reading's sake. So that's why I put it in a poetic
You
form.
said there was something in here in patois? What page?
At the entrance. The dedication to my mom.
Oh, your mom,
in Creole.
Yes, right, in Creole, Oh, I see. Mwen ka diki diki. Liva sala, poor man young men. Gadaline Donaie.
Yeah.
It's your mother.
Yeah, that's my mom. Yeah.
That's really good. Well, she got a good son there. Yeah. And you haven't stopped yet. You're still, I mean, what's the next step? Well,
I am presently writing a book on, because since I've come here, I have noticed practically almost the same thing. But I've noticed a lot of the demographics change, but I still see the people are still thinking the same way. I'm seeing, if you would have people tell you, boy, be careful, you can't go this place and you can't go this place. And I'm driving East End and I'm seeing people walking, white folks walking up the road and have no fear. Why should I have fear going someplace, You're also looking at the demographics that you've been pushed to. All the local people have been pushed to the center of the island. So we have to see, well, why is this and what changes in the mindset of people of what the results of this going to be.
That's systemic as well, do you think?
Yes, it is. And it is. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. When you look at the history of Hawaii, Texas, Alaska, you could see how those places were taken over. They sent a lot of people from America to those places, and then they took it over.
I wondered who needs to be educated to help change some of these systems, and how we might go about educating.
I think one of our greatest assets in the Virgin Islands are the young people. I think we have tremendous.
Say that again.
Mr. Ali loves that.
Yes.
One of the greatest assets we have in the Virgin Islands are the young people. If you look at the majority of the people that are bellowing their voice out are practically over 50 and over 60, and they are on the way out. So they want the status quo to remain the same. And it's just the same thing like capitalism. Capitalism, to my definition, the way I look at capitalism, is I survive, I live, and everybody else die.
Wow. Oh
so,
my goodness.
Okay.
So I would like to follow up on that.
So,
so I said who needs to be educated and how do we educate them? And I'm going to add to that, and in what form do we educate them? Because we are giving some sort of education. Are you talking about more of an education around these? What about critical race theory? I'm throwing that in there too.
The first thing I have to quote Bob Marley said, if you don't know your history, then you don't know where you're coming from. So we first have to bring back Virgin Islands history and more on Caribbean history, to know, to have this pride within you. And one island I have to, people think I'm Jamaican, but I'm not Jamaican. But Jamaican, if you ever meet a Jamaican, they know nothing about no other is but Jamaica. And they focus, they know everything about their culture, their food, their dance, everything is, What do we?
Well, we have to know about the U.S. because that's our mother, right? So this goes back to a conversation we were having a little bit earlier.
No, but I don't think so.
We don't have to, but we have to.
Yeah, but I don't think so, because if we, yes, politically.
Yes.
Yeah, politically, but culturally we are not. You put me next to somebody who grew up in the States, and you'll see two total different thinking.
In terms of the systems. These are the systems that then come down to us that make it difficult for us to do the other thing that Jamaica is doing. Right.
But that still doesn't mean culturally we can't have a pride in the Virgin Islands. We can have our own music, and teach people our own music, our own history, our own know-how, highlight the people that have been successful in
But we got quadrille, as you know.
Yes. But then we have to take this from a local level and bring it up to a much different level. And who's going to do that? Is not the older folks that are there. The younger folks is the one who's going to take this Quill Bay and bring it up, put a different genre to it, and bring it up to, so that the world could, when they hear Quill Bay, they know.
So I am so eager about this conversation for lots of different reasons. So forgive me, Mr. Ali, I know we're running out of time. So I want to get back to that what. You started with the history. Would you also think that, or do you think that we would also need to explicitly discuss some of the things that we've been discussing in a classroom setting? And does this sort of liken to the discussions in the States around critical race theory and so forth?
But I don't think we have to.
Explicitly?
I don't think we do. I don't think we have to. The only reason we have to is if you don't know about it. But we should focus on civic, how your government works, the function of your government, how we go about doing our government. And I still think that we need to change the Organic Act for the Virgin Islands, because something that was...
To what?
Well, to what we wanted to
put
be.
Together, I see.
Right,
yeah. Okay.
because something that was made in 1957, 54.
54, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't work today.
Well, you know, of course, the problems, a lot of the problems around that have to do with you can't act outside of the U.S. Constitution. And so that becomes a thing that a lot of times differentiates, I believe, in my very humble and not completely educated opinion in terms of politics, that would limit our ability to take some of the steps that other Caribbean nations have been able to take, because we're not that.
Yeah.
But remember now, we were born as children and we all grew up. So the business of growing up and sorting things out for yourself is very important, and perhaps we need to explore that, and perhaps the younger people would be the ones.
Want to do it.
We're running out of time a bit, but I wanted to make absolutely sure we covered anything that you feel that you really would like to say.
I think the whole is about race, religion, and capitalism.
Yeah.
And I printed 1,000 copies of this. I sold about 8,000. I'm sorry, I sold 800.
Yeah. I like that. You print 1,000 and you sell 8,000.
Yeah, I sold 800. So I've given practically most of what I have out.
Right.
And unless I see there's a demand for it, I wouldn't print.
And the book is available at...
you could call me here. I didn't put it on Amazon.
Oh, you didn't put it on Amazon?
No, I didn't put it on Amazon.
Oh, I see. All right.
But you could call me at 832.
Wait, let's write that down.
832.
Yes.
881.
881.
9745.
So, you know, Mr. Ali has really been pushing or supporting the idea of our local authors getting more visibility, and then we have this Lit Fest and so forth. And the ideas that are contained in your book and some of the other books, I wonder if that would be a good starting place in terms of our local education, learning about ourselves, learning about our history, establishing an identity through the lens of people who come from where you come from. And I just think that that's just an amazing place that we could begin if we had a course where we really reviewed the writings of and the thinking of people who are from here.
Absolutely. And then, of course, it's where you're going. I'm very interested. You're going to get some more degrees or anything?
No.
She's done.
You know, your mom and dad must be very proud of you. I know your mother. And I'm so grateful that you have done what you were placed on the face of the earth to do. Write those books, get the degrees, and really reach out to people to look at ways and means of moving forward and doing what they can to think.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. So I just want to
example.
thank you so much, Sylvanus Donaie, and we'll be talking some more as we go along.
Thank you.
And we want to move forward with you. Just don't leave us too far behind.
Okay, thanks.